Gunners Collective TV. Back at it? You already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye up. Bye up. Look, in a minuto style in a direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding! Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I'm kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel. It's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled and I'm very appreciative. So, gracias. So, what do we have? Looky. What do we have here? Can I have some, right? Hector Bravo, the prison guard. Man, I got a lot of respect for this individual. I got a lot of respect because he tells it like it is. And sometimes when you tell it like it is, or you speak your truths, oh man, does the fucking hate and the drama rain upon your parade, right? Now, of course, growing up the way I did in the gang lifestyle, prison guards were a no-no. To even fraternize with the K9 is what it was called, was a no-no. To sit there and to converse or have a conversation with a CEO, a YC in the youth authority, all these different tags labeled, sergeant, captain, lieutenants, IGI, ISU, all these different groups that have to do with authority, police, right, was a no-no. You know, you were considered a rata, you were considered a debriefer, you were considered all these things if you sat there and had conversations with cops. But Hector is basically a dropout CO. Okay, let's be honest here. Let's put it in layman terms. He dropped out of the CDCR. He decided to step away from that life. He decided to step away from that job for a various number of reasons. And for his own reasoning, you know, maybe it wasn't, he wasn't encouraged or enthused anymore to be a correction officer. And I've met a lot of COs along the way and have had conversations with them now that I'm no longer in that lifestyle that have told me pretty much the same thing that Hector says on his channel. And that is that, you know, the CDCR has corrupt things going on. They don't see the rehabilitation in it. They went through a lot of different things, seen a lot of things, and have decided that for no other reason, you know, it's not the job for them. Now, there are those that retire. They put in their work, their time, and then they fall back. But with Hector, there was a certain situation that I'm sure occurred that opened his eyes and he realized, you know what, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of, you know, the politics, because there's politics played everywhere. I'm tired of the politics of the CDCR. And so for his reason and his reason only, he decided to step away. But along the way, he's seen a lot of things. He's seen a lot of things, I'm sure. So when that man speaks and tells a story about Norteños, Southsiders, blacks, whites within the prison system, I listen and I see if it rings true. And for 99.9% of the time, his stories ring truth. But again, it's his perspective, right? So the other day, and I know there's gonna be, oh, you're late on this one, homie. That was last week. So what? I was in the Bay Area and the Valley wiggling, right? But there was an interview where Hector was caught saying, and I say caught, and I use that word very loosely, right? But he was caught saying that the Paisas are all Rapos, right? That they all have bad cases. Now, subsequently, since that video surfaced, man, and immediately YouTube content creators jumped on it. I seen a Mexicano that jumped on it, and I could understand. He was feeling slightly disrespected. Like, man, why would this guy say that? Man, why would he shed a bad light on the Paisas like they're the only ones, or like they're all bad, right? Now, it's not a question of they're the only ones. He said the Paisas. He didn't say any other group. He stuck it to them, right? But I seen other content creators say, well, you know, they're not the only ones, right? And that's the truth. But who says that what Hector said was truth? Now, I seen Hector did an interview with Dubs, right? And they sat down, and thank you, man, for that content, because I think that's what the people wanted and needed, to hear him clean it up, or to hear his, you know, what really, his version of it. Because on YouTube, on any social media site, people can clip things, take things out of, you know, way out of whack, make you look like the most racist, the most hated, the most hateful, the most hurtful person. And it's just a fucking soundbite, man. They twisted it, made it the way they AI'd it, or they made it the way they wanted to make it sound, right? And people bite, and they're like, oh shit, this dude's fucking all bad. You know, when I first heard Hector say it, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, wow. You know, I've always been respectful with Hector. We gamed, I think, a couple times together. I was very respectful for him. I had a lot of respect for him. I've never sat down and had a conversation with Hector. It's just never happened. It's not that he has anything against me or I have anything against him, I'm sure. Or at least he hasn't told me that. We just never had the opportunity to sit down and have a good conversation. But I respect that man, okay? And I know that a lot of the things he's seen and a lot of the ways he views things, I agree with. You know, I agree with the corrupt shit that's going on. I agree with, you know, pretty much he tells it like it is on how some groups are harder than others, or he thinks that they're harder than others. And harder ain't even the word to use, but that they have it worse than others. And we could sit here and every different group would talk about how they're the hardest, and every different group in prison would talk about how they have it the hardest, and every different group would talk about how it's the worst for them doing time, and every different, you know, and it's just, you have that pride. So you always want your people to look good in every aspect of anything. Like, no, we make toast better. No, fucking, no. Art, when we get commissary, we get it faster, cheaper, and better. Truth is, everyone gets it expensive, slow, and not enough. That's the fucking truth, right? But when I seen him say these things about the Paisas, I bit a little bit like, wow, I'm going to have to question that. And then when I seen Dub's video, I seen that Hector specified what he was talking about. And I agree, right? Now, he said he wasn't talking about all Paisas in prison, in the California system. It might have came out that way. It might have sounded like that. And I know a lot of people, he just went back and cleaned it up. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe he was faded. I don't know if he drinks or not. Maybe he was just talking to talk, personal conversation, and maybe it just came out that way, right? But he said that he was talking about Paisas on the SNY yards, the sensitive need yards, basically protective custody. Now, I don't know if Hector worked on an SNY yard. You know, I know for years he worked in one prison, but I don't know if he actually worked at SNY yard. I'll tell you the truth. I've had conversations with a lot of COs that did not like to work on SNY yards. Period. First of all, they don't like pussies. They don't like to be around people that don't know how to do time. I hear this constantly from COs. Man, I remember the old school times, the old days when motherfucking convicts knew how to do time. Nowadays, they're all pussies. And I'm not saying they all are. I'm saying this is what they said. They're all pussies and that cry and write kites and don't know how to do time. And let me tell you, a CO, most old school, old head COs, OGs just want to go in there, do their job, have no issues or no problems. I mean, if a person gets stabbed here and a person gets stabbed there, so be it. That's prison. They know what they signed up for. But they're not really trying to hear someone fucking cry about their commissary, cry about their visiting, cry about their family visit, cry about when are they going to go to chow. Like, you can understand how that will make it difficult and that would make them feel a certain type of way, right? So a lot of them don't like to go to the SNY yards because in the SNY yards, there's no structure. There's no accountability. Everyone is independent. So if someone's crying at the officer's desk, if someone's crying at the fucking, you know, the CO station or whatever, the program office, there's no one that's going to hold them accountable. They could do whatever they want to do. So I'm sure a lot of these COs, and I've talked to a few of them, don't like to work the SNY yards. And that's only one of the reasons. Another reason is because there are people there with bad cases. And you got to understand, a lot of these COs are grown men with families, women with families, and they don't condone chomos and rapos and all that weird stuff. They're not down with Diddy, okay? So I understand that they don't want to be around that element. Now, not to say that on the SNYRs, that's all there is, but there is that, okay? So when Hector said all the Paisas all have R's on their jackets or all have bad cases, and he says he was speaking about SNY, that rings true. Now, not all, but you got to understand, when it comes to the Paisa car, shout out to my Paisitas. Shout, right? Got a lot of love for the Paisas. We're all, if you're fucking got any Mexican blood, believe me, you got a family member that's a straight Paisa and you got to love them because they work harder than anyone else. That's the truth, right? But there's this stigma that Paisas are catching all these sexual deviant cases, right? Do I know that to be true? No, I've heard it in the past. Never really seen it, right? But I've heard it. Here's two things I can say about the Paisas for sure. And we've all seen this. They're the hardest working people, period. And they love them a fat white chick. Am I lying? Right? Or the fat white chick loves them. You ever notice they always got a big old fat white chick and as their old lady, and she knows how to speak better Spanish than you do? It's crazy, huh? She can make some chile rellenos like you ain't like, no, it's no one's business. Show, right? She's in there bumping Pesa Pluma. Ayoha, ayoha, right? Just cooking. Look, the Paisas, I got a lot of respect for them, man. They do their time. They don't bother no one. And they function in the California system with the Southerners. I'm not going to say up under the Southerners because that makes it seem like they're less than. But they function on the same sides of the yard with the Southsiders. They program. People say, oh, they don't check paperwork. Believe me, they're not going to be functioning and embraced and loved and respected by the Southerners if they're not checking paperwork. Okay, that's what's not going to happen. Now, they have their own carro. They have their own ranfla, their own people that they look out for. If you're a Mexican national, you don't speak English, you're not a part of gangs, you were born in Mexico, then you have your people that you feel comfortable with. And of course, they roll on the same side of the Southerners, and there's a lot of Southerners that actually, man, can't speak English or, have family members that just came over or, they're the second generation. And so they identify with each other. There's a lot of respect there. Now, that doesn't mean the Norteños don't have respect for the Paisas because they got a lot of family. I met a lot of Norteños that couldn't speak English either. It's just the way it was. But the Paisas are kind of a neutral car, but when push comes to shove and it's go time, they're going to rock with the Southsiders. Now, do you honestly really think the Southerners are going to allow all them to have R's on their jackets and eat at the same tables as them or be on the same side of the yard? No, not even close, right? So when Hector first said that, I was like, wow. To what degree of prison was he at? Then when he went on Dub's channel and said, oh, it was in SNY, the SNY yards. Yes. Think about this. The Paisas are not considered, maybe in the feds, but in state prison, they're not a prison gang, okay? They're not a disruptive group. They're not tagged or labeled as anything other than a group on the yard, They're based off their nationality, based off, their language barriers, based off their culture. But it has, and there's Paisas, when I say Paisas, not just, there's El Salvadorians, there's fucking Guatemalans, Hondurans, anyone that's Latino, that's not born in the United States, pretty much roll with the Paisas, right? And I know there's a lot of people, stop saying Paisas, that's disrespectful. Paisas just means, it's short for Paisanos, which is native to their country or their city, their area. They say to themselves, orale paisita, if they're both from Michoacan or if they're both from Jalisco, if they're both from Zacatecas. That's just how they talk, man. And that word, because they say it so much in their, hey, paisa, paisita, right? Paisano. People have taken that and they've basically labeled and gave them that title, right? I don't know if they wanted it, but it's what it is now. But it's not meant to be disrespectful at all. Now, the Paisas are not the largest car in prison. So a lot of people talk shit, but I've met some Paisas that'll tear your whole fucking earlobe off, right? They'll fuck you off. They're not no joke. And best believe, man, they're not going into prison with no R's on their jacket, no funny shit, and they're not going to condone that, right? They probably went in because they slapped up the fat white old lady. Still not cool, but definitely was not no weird case. It was all, how'd that fat dude say it? The little short one in the tent? He said it was all consensual, right? Only his was different. But here's the truth. When Hector said that, I was like, wow. And then when he cleaned it up and said it was on the SNY yard, or didn't even clean it up, just basically said, nah, they took it, and they changed it. Okay, I understood. And he's right, man. There's no reason, because they don't have gang politics and they're not involved like that, there's no reason for the Paisas to be on SNY, period, unless they have an R on their jacket. So the majority of them that are on the SNY yards, and I don't know how many of them are there, probably do have R's on their jackets, because they're not going to be allowed to walk the general population yard, and you got to put them somewhere. So if he was speaking from that aspect, saying that, why did everyone jumped on it quick? Oh man, he's saying all Paisas, right? Everyone was quick to come to the Paisas' defense. I seen a black dude speak on it, right? A brother that basically gets mad if you talk about any black business in prison. Oh no, he got something to say, and I respect the dude still. I got nothing but respect for his channel and everything, but he was on it quick. And I said, what does Paisas have to do with the brothers whatsoever? They don't even talk to each other, right? But he's a content creator and he's allowed to speak on and do whatever he wants. And that's just the way it is, man. And I wasn't tripping off that. I was just like, I was more tripping off the fact that, man, he says I can't talk about blacks, or we shouldn't talk about blacks at all, but he's talking about paisas, right? Or what, Hector's Mexican. It's not like Hector's a black dude or a white dude talking about all paisas or rapos. Then the shit hit the fan, right? And then it can be misconstrued as being racial. But he's a Mexican saying that other Mexicans are fucking, look, you're going to believe what you want to believe. Hector was a CO for a lot of years. He's seen a lot of things. He read a lot of people's case files. He was privy to that, okay? We go by what people say, the paperwork from the courts that we can get, hearsay, he said, she said, that he said. That's what we go by in prison. And I've seen people whacked over bad paperwork. I've seen people whacked over paperwork that was not even real. So we have to go with what we have, right? Whereas the COs know exactly what people are in for. So when he's speaking from a very different perspective. A person that was privy to the actual charges and the nature of the case, they see all the details, right? They read all the court filings. Maybe they become interested in a certain person, or they're asked, and for whatever reason, they look into it and then they realize there's some shit there that they didn't know. And that's how information definitely gets leaked onto the prison yards. More than likely, it's by the COs. Hey, man, that dude got a bad charge back in the 85. What? We didn't know that yet. So someone's getting it. Sign the paperwork. Next thing you know, someone's getting whacked on the yard. Now, I seen Dubs mention, they were talking and Dubs says, not only are the paisas, have a lot of people with those type of cases, but there's a lot of other groups as well. And man, I'm going to be doing a video later on how he was attacked for that. Like if he was alluding to was the blacks, right? Not everything is about the brothers, man, all the time. That prison yard gets a lot of different groups. There's the natives, the others, the brothers, the north, the south, the bulldogs, the fucking partridge in the pear tree, right? So it could have been anyone he was talking about. But I don't think he was particularly targeting the blacks. I'll be doing another video talking about Dubs, man, and how he's the most hated on YouTube. That's for sure. And all the shit that's going on behind the scenes with that later on. So tap in. But as far as I can see with Hector, he was talking about the paisas on the SNY yard, and he's right. See, I'm going to be real, and people are not going to like me, and they're probably going to make a video saying I'm racist, but I don't give a fuck. Fuck you and what you think, right? Straight up. Because I'm going to keep it real. I'm not talking to my supporters. I'm talking about the people that are just watching this to hate on it and to find a reason why to make me into a racist, right? They know who they are. On the SNY yards, you have gang dropouts, righteous gang dropouts, dudes that are non-active or got removed, because in order to be a dropout, you have to have dropped in. You have to be part of the big four. That's the real definition of it. But now everyone uses the words loosely, and now everyone's a dropout, I guess, right? And then, of course, you have people that were removed, whether it was righteously or unjust, whatever. And then you have people with weird charges or people that just can hang. They're weaker than others. They're scared. They get there. They don't have a bad case. They just are scared. They can't do it, right? They can do the crime on the streets and act all tough, but they get to prison. They can't do it. They're scared. So whatever. They have to put them somewhere, right? So you have a whole lot of different element of people there. You have people for years, 20, 30 years, that were hardened criminals, that were stabbing people on the yards, that were putting in work, that just decided to hang it up. Man, I'm tired of this shit. I want to just visit my old lady and my kids and just do my thing, man. I'm tired of the prison politics. Then you have dudes that fucked up. They were pillheads on the yard, drug addicts, whatever. They got caught up. They got removed. Then you had dudes that got removed for fucking hearsay and bullshit. Then you got dudes that just dropped out because, hey, they just decided to that. They woke up that morning like, hey, today's a good day to fucking let it go. I don't want to gangbang no more, right? Then they go over there and they start gangbanging again. So you have a lot of different element of people, but you do have those weirdos that try to creep on those yards, right? And if I sat here and picked out a particular group, if I was to be on the SNY yard and see a whole bunch of paisas, I would automatically assume, what the fuck are you guys doing over here? You guys don't have fucking gang politics and all that to adhere to, really? That must mean one thing. I can't eat no chile relleno off your plate, right? You're fucking probably got a case. Now, do I know this for sure? No, but I would assume so, because just having been able to math, because my math knows how to math, right? I put 2 and 2 together and realized like there's no reason for them to be an SNY yard other than they were scared. They didn't understand what what yard they were going to, or they got a weird case. With all that being said, I'm going to bounce away from them. Now, same thing goes with the blacks. Let me explain why. And we're going to get to every particular group because I don't want to single anyone out so they fucking say I'm racist, right? When it gets to the brothers The blacks, man, you know, same difference. They do remove people off the yard for certain things. It's not as much as it is with the Mexicans or the whites. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest, right? But they handle their business when it comes crunch time. Most definitely, right? But I'll tell you this. If you see a brother on the SNY yard, like, damn, bro. Because, see, the brothers are able to go to yards. And I think Chill made a video about it. How Mexicans, north and south, can't go to certain yards because it's deemed all bad by their people. But the brothers don't play that game. Like, you can go to whatever yard. Go do your time. Prison is prison, right? I respect that shit. Mexicans, just their structure and their politics are a little bit different. There's yards that are deemed bad for whatever reason it's deemed bad for, and you can't go. You have a curfew. I'll be doing a video on that too. I see Dubs did one, but I got mine. You got to get yours because I got to get mine, right? So if I was to see a brother over there, like, what are you doing over here, bro? What am I doing over here, first of all? But what are you doing over here, right? Your politics are different. You can go to every yard. You can go do whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you either done fucked up within your people real bad, or you got some weird shit on your jacket, bro. There's only two reasons. Or you were scared. Just like, you know, same thing goes with Norteños, you know. Now, you'll see a lot of Norteños on the SNY yard, and you'll wonder to yourself, what are they here for? And 99.9% of them are going to be gang dropouts, or they were scared, defectors, they fell off, removed, whatever. But you're not automatically going to assume, oh, they got a bad case. And you're not automatically going to assume that with the blacks either. They got a bad case. But knowing prison politics and the way it is, you would say, man, it's not like there's black dudes getting stabbed and removed every single day. They're not doing that. They do fuck each other off. They do check paperwork. They're doing all that. But if you see 100 black dudes on an SNY yard, which I'm not sure the numbers, man, you'll be like, damn, why all y'all leave, right? What the fuck happened? There ain't no way 100 black dudes got removed in the last 4 or 5 months. You know what I mean? It's a trip. And maybe that's the number accumulation over time, you know, because I know people are going to make videos and try to dissect every little thing. And I'm not pinpointing the blacks. I'm just saying, you know, what do you get over here for? Now, this is not a dick swinging contest or a race to who has more rapos. Every different group has weirdos in their car. You know, not every different group is going to allow them to function on a general population yard. The Paisas are not one of them groups that are going to allow that. Why? Not saying the Paisas wouldn't. Sometimes they can't even read the paperwork. No sé. This guy, no sé. Right? They don't know. But the Southerners do. And because they function hand in hand with the Southerners are going to be like, nope, no siree. Right? Now, I'm not saying the brothers allow rapos and all that. From my experience, functioning on the same side of the yard with them, I've seen two times where there was a weirdo. He was a unaffiliated black. Try to come on the yard, and when he was discovered, get over here. Bad things were done to him, and he wasn't on that yard. The brothers handled their business, right? The Crips, man, the Crips, Southern Crips. And now look, Dubs also said in that video, the one he did with Hector, that, you know, when the blacks were brought up, he didn't bring the blacks up. He just said other groups, which could have been the natives, the others, the whatever, right? I'm not here to clean shit up. I'm here to keep it real, right? And Hector brought up the brothers, the blacks, right? And I know Chill made a video, man. He was all on it, said that Dubs was trying to instigate that. And why has he got to bring the blacks into it? He actually did it. In fact, Hector did, right? And all Dubs said merely was, you know, when you're talking to blacks about any little thing, they're fragmented into so many different groups, man. You can't just get at one. And that's the truth. Even with Norteños talking to blacks, like, there's like 3 or 4 Crips that you got to talk to, a couple Bloods you got to talk to, a couple Kumis. Like, they don't have specific shot callers, guys who run the whole show. Like, it's not that they're disorganized. It's just that that's not the politics that they play. Every man is independent and speaks for himself. They might have an OG big homie kind of running that yard. That's why when Adam asked that question to Whack 100, hey, can you run the yard for the blacks? There is no one that runs the yard for the blacks. They got so many different figureheads and people that they respect that you're going to have to talk to this guy and this guy and this guy to get some shit done, because not all the groups fuck with each other like that. See, it's not an all-black thing until it becomes an all-black thing, until it becomes something racial, and then they all get together and handle their business. But up until then, you got the Crips over here, the Bloods over here, the Damus over here, you got the Kumis over here, and some of them won't talk to each other, and there's certain Crip groups that won't talk to them. Oh, those are the O's, man. We're over here. We're the Trays. We're the gangsters. That's just how it is, man, and you got to know the prison politics and respect it. With that being said, I don't think Hector meant anything bad by saying it. It kind of came out the wrong way about the rapo thing with the Paisas, but I think he was referring to the SNY yards, man, and he ain't lying. There's a lot of them over there. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. One thing I know for sure, if you're a Norteño and you got a bad case, you're not even going to make it out of county. Straight up, let alone prison. Bang, bang.